Joey, can you explain a little bit more about your background as a movie fan and kind of put in perspective what the Oscars mean for the fans and just the nominees themselves?
Yeah, so I grew up around movies my whole life. My grandfather, at a young age, was taking me to see movies. We'd go to the video rental store, so I was always a fan of movies. When I was a senior in high school, I got a job as a projectionist at a movie theater, and I think that's when my love of like film began, where I
Okay.
was actually assembling the film, screening them. That led me down different avenues, going to see a lot of more independent film. From that, I got a writing job as a film critic, had my own website for a while, done some film festivals. And we meet a lot of these film critics, and they're kind of pretentious and they're kind of jerks. Sometimes it can be a little bit of that. We try not to
Yeah.
be, but for the most part, I am just a massive movie fan, and I just really try to take everything at face value. So you see the Oscars come up, you see all these different awards. I
Mhm.
mean, the Oscars is kind of like the Super Bowl of movie award shows.
Okay.
And for me, the Oscars really, I mean, awards are awards, but career recognition is something that anybody thrives on and craves in any type of industry they're in, and that's what the Oscars are. I mean, it's just accolades for people that have worked their butts off in different fields.
Okay, absolutely. That makes a ton of sense. And the Academy Awards this year, they are going to be on March 10th at the Dolby Theater in LA, live at
Mhm.
7 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. Aaron Rodgers' best friend, Jimmy Kimmel, he'll host this season's Oscars. And Joey, I don't know if you do much entertainment betting, but it's only legal in a handful of states so far: New Jersey, Indiana, Colorado, Michigan. Colorado just gets everything. God damn.
They do.
Michigan,
Let it
Louisiana,
fly.
Massachusetts, Kansas, Arizona. Arizona gets everything too. Do you do a lot of entertainment betting? Obviously, I know you're in Florida, so you're kind of fucked a little bit. But if
Yeah.
you were not in Florida, would you enjoy doing something like this?
Oh, absolutely. And who's to say I don't have a bookie there in Colorado? I got a lot of friends that live in Colorado.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, Florida just got legal sports gambling, so the first step is underway. So hopefully get some of that entertainment gambling here soon too.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Let's go ahead. Let's go nominee, or what is it? Category by
Yeah,
category.
category.
Yeah, let's break it down here. Kyle, if you want to pull up the nominees for the best actress, we got Emma Stone from Poor Things. She's the heavy favorite at minus
Mm-hmm.
150. Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon, plus 120. A close second there. And then we got some long shots. Sandra Haller, Anatomy of Fall. Carrie Mulligan, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Mastro,
Maestro. Yep.
and then
Mm-hmm.
Annette Benning.
Mm-hmm.
And
For
I don't
Naya.
even want to, yeah, Naiad. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
give us the laydown here, Joey. What are we looking at here from a betting perspective and from a movie perspective?
So all year long, it's been a 2-horse race, and maybe we shouldn't call them horses. That feels a little wrong to be calling actresses horses. It's been Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone. If
Okay.
I were giving out the Academy Award, listen, I love Poor Things, one of my favorite movies of the year. But what Lily Gladstone did in Killers of the Flower Moon, like being on screen with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro and stealing every scene she's in away from them,
Oh, wow.
that for
Okay.
me is a high degree of difficulty. Now, what Emma Stone does, and it's hard to speak about what she does in Poor Things without giving too much away, is also miraculous. I think it's really between those two. If you're looking for a long shot because you're just trying to win a lot of money on this, there are 2 actresses that are in 2 films that are nominated for Best Picture this year. Only one of them is nominated for Best Actress. That's Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of Fall. She's also in the zone of interest. About 4 years ago, she kind of got overlooked for one of her early films, and a lot of people have been kind of looking for her payback Oscar to get her. She is fantastic in Anatomy of a Fall. I think if you're looking for a big upset, you could see her win, but I still think it's probably going to be Emma Stone. She's fantastic in the movie. She's been winning all the Guild Awards as well. So it
Okay.
does look like it's going to go to Emma Stone.
Hoove, how do you feel about that? Emma Stone, I mean, this is a gal, we've seen her do everything from Easy A to Super Bad. Like, she's on the come up, man. This chick doesn't stop. You're muted as well, Hoove.
That's just one thing I've realized like about actresses, that like once they could kind of put it in that comedy stigma, it's so hard for them to break out. But once they do, and they can really kind of just like show their character, like everyone knows that Emma Stone's a talented actress, and I'm just glad that she's finally like allowed to like showcase that, and it's not with Andrew Garfield and Spider-Man 2.
Oh, that was a banger, though. That was a banger. Let's be real. Let's be Eric, your thoughts on Emma Stone here. And I do like La La Land. I will shout out that movie. That is, I think, a really good. Did she win awards for that, Joey?
She did win. That's when she won her first Academy Award for Best Actress.
That's
for
the
La La
start.
Land.
Okay.
That's the start.
Eric, your thoughts on Emma Stone? Have you seen any of these movies we're chatting about?
I've seen a couple of them. I tend to agree with Joey. Like what Lily Gladstone did in Killers of the Flower Moon was insane. Like that entire universe orbited around her energy for that film. And so I mean her performance therein was incredible. I also kind of accidentally stumbled into Anatomy of a Fall, which I really enjoyed as a film. Sandra Huller was perfect at walking that line between accident or otherwise, and really kept that story alive in what was like a very dialogue heavy and dialogue in a foreign language heavy film. To be able to carry that kind of burden is super impressive for her.
Love it. We got Jamie here in the chat being a little bit of a dog, saying, I guess my next vacation is to the blackjack table at the Luxor. There you go.
I didn't know it's Jamie with Zach Wilson.
What's your all-time favorite movie, Joey?
Oh, I get that question a lot.
He does.
The movie I go back to is like my comfort movie. My favorite movie is Almost Famous. It kind of launched me in a different direction in life, to actually go down a kind of a path of music, doing some musical promotions. And it's a film I just absolutely love. Every time I watch it, great screenplay, great performances, and catching people at really interesting moments in their career. You look at Philip Seymour Hoffman as Lester Bangs in that movie, just unbelievable. So many great performances and great screenplay. Yeah. So I love Almost Famous, my favorite movie.
Okay. I hope Katie is.
I think this jacket is actually from the set of Almost Famous. I'm not
really
sure.
Really?
It's just really old looking.
I hope Katie's taking some notes in the chat, because I would like to check that one out. We got Rachel in the chat saying Joey Wright is here. Absolutely. All right, let's talk Best Actor then. Let's shift gears here. And Cillian Murphy, no doubt about it, the favorite here. Oppenheimer, the grand salami of a movie this season. And then Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers, plus 175. Bradley Cooper, Maestro, 10-1 there. You're getting 28-1 on American Fiction star Jeffrey Wright. And then Coleman Domingo in Rustin. 40-1. Joey, break down this category. Who do you think wins it, and how were these films?
So I think from here on out, it's going to get a little repetitive of what's going to be winning some awards. Although I will say the Paul Giamatti Holdovers nomination, that was at plus 400 about a month ago.
Okay.
That line's moving closer and closer. About, was it 2003 when Sideways came out? The Academy kind of made a big mistake by not nominating Paul Giamatti. It's been one of, if you listen to Oscar prognosticators, it's one they keep going back to. Like, Giamatti should have been nominated for Sideways that year. This could be the year they pay him back. Now, they did get him a Best Supporting Actor Academy Award for Cinderella Man in 2006. I think if anyone's going to upset Murphy, it's going to be Giamatti. But, I mean, maybe this is the point we talk about Oppenheimer. I am not the biggest Christopher Nolan fan. I own all his films. I like him quite a bit. I'm just not a massive fanboy over him. If you look at my top shelf, that's where my directors I like the most are. Nolan's alphabetized down low with the rest of them. So it's not really a shade at Nolan, but I will say what he did with Oppenheimer across the board checks every box. It's an incredible, incredible film. It deserves every award it's getting. And Murphy is a huge part of why it's so great.
Awesome. Jamie saying Cinderella Man is one of his favorites. I agree. I love Cinderella Man. How about Big Fat Liar for Paul Giamatti? I mean, that was an absolute banger. That was your and I's childhood, man. Big Fat Liar, Frankie Muniz, Amanda Bynes. How about that crew?
I thought Paul Giamatti was one of the Blue Men Group for the longest time. Honestly, after that movie, after he died himself in that pool, like I thought about that. And honestly, too, like I always confused that movie with Agent Cody Banks.
Oh, fair enough.
That came out around the same time. Like I always confused those two movies, but that's a good throwback. I'm glad you threw that in there. But pretty much, like Joey, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like I feel like they're waiting for the opportunity to give Paul Giamatti the Oscar. And obviously you're hearing everything about Oppenheimer. Maybe as a big Barbie fan, I could go out and say that Barbie pretty much took all the wind out of opening weekend in a sense. I feel like Barbie kind of took it away, but it's I understand why the lines get moving closer, but deep down that Cillian Murphy's probably the smart bet.
Yeah.
Eric, is plus 175 enough for you to get behind the little bit longer shot of Paul Giamatti?
Well, especially with the insider information that line is moving so significantly, right?
Yes.
Like if sports betting has taught us anything, those lines move for a reason, right? So, picking up on those trends is not a bad strategy.
Our guy Dan Kotnick, he put out an article on the website. He made his best bets for the Oscars. He went with Paul as well. So a little bit of sneaky value there. Let's move to Best Director here. Eric, I'll let you introduce the nominees, man. I think you'll do a better job of not butchering some of these names.
Will I? As you have some of the most difficult names on the entire list. We've already talked about Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer. Obviously, Martin Scorsese's film Killer of the Flower Moon. Oppenheimer, I should say, is the favorite at minus 3,500, whereas Scorsese is next up in line at plus 1,400. Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things. Lanthimos plus 1,400. Justine Triet, The Anatomy of a Fall, the aforementioned Anatomy of a Fall, right there at plus 1,600. And then closing us out, Jonathan Glazer with The Zone of Interest, the longest odds at plus 2,500.
Is Jonathan Glazer related to Jay Glazer, Joey? Do you know that?
That's what the J's
no
for,
relation.
right?
No relation.
I love some Jay Glazer.
Here's the thing. We're not related at all. And it's Jay Glazer. I just wanted to pop in.
I would like to see Jay Glazer's version of The Zone of Interest. I bet it would be a vastly, vastly different movie.
What the hell is The Zone of Interest or The Anatomy of Fall? What are those movies?
Zone of Interest is a Holocaust film like I've never seen before.
Oh.
It's basically what's on the other side of Auschwitz. It's a film about the family that's running Auschwitz. Basically, the husband is the main person that's running Auschwitz, and the whole family that's living a very normal life on the other side of that wall. It's you never go inside the concentration camp. You never see it. But as the movie's going, you see black smoke going up in the background.
Wow.
You hear guns firing. It's very chilling. I've never seen a Holocaust movie made this way. Easily one of the best films of the year. I will never see it again. It's a piece of art, and I appreciated it in the moment I saw it. I didn't stop thinking about it for like 5 days, and I don't know if I want to feel that again. It's a very, very heavy movie. Anatomy of a Fall is a little more lightweight. It's kind of a whodunit in the greatest way, because you are truly wondering who did it even after the movie's over. Husband has a fall, or is he murdered from a balcony, and only a son and a dog and a wife know what may have happened, and the son is blind. And what's really great about Anatomy of a Fall is this is really good whodunit, but you get to go inside of a French courtroom. And let me tell you, very different than an American courtroom.
Okay. So elegant. Elegant.
And it's kind of snarky. I was laughing out loud in the theater. I was glad that I was alone in the theater when I saw it. Very like darkly funny, but just a really, really beautiful movie and really well written. Like, I would love to see it win one of the I think it's for Best Original Screenplay. I would love to see it win a screenplay, because it's just so well written.
And shout out Messi, the border collie that played Snoop in that movie. Like, totally should have gotten a nod. Bit of a snub with Messi.
They had him on the red carpet doing some stuff with it was Vanity Fair. It's pretty nice. I love when they bring the dogs in. That's great. Love
Very
dogs.
cool. Very cool. Now, with that being said, Joey, do any of these other movies, The Anatomy of Fall, The Zone of Interest, do they have the ability to potentially pull an upset win with their director over Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer?
No, this is the Nolan Award this year, and you know what? He deserves it. Like I said, Oppenheimer checks all the boxes. There's a lot of the Academy is becoming more and more European, which I love to see. I think Yorgos Lanthimos is going to get an award one day for Best Director. He's put they put The Favorite out a few years ago. Poor Things this year, The Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer. Some really beloved films with like film snobs like myself that I said I'm not one of. So I think he'll get recognized one day. The only thing I could see if Nolan doesn't win is if they're like, you know what, let's give Marty one more. They gave it to him for The Departed. And listen, I love The Departed, but if you look at Martin Scorsese's filmography,
Yeah.
it's probably not his best film. Like, he probably should have won 2 other times. But I do think this is the Nolan Award. Scorsese be the only one that I could possibly see sneaking it out.
Good call there. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's go ahead. Let's round out with Best Picture here. We have Oppenheimer, the heavy favorite, once again, -900. The Holdovers sneakily comes in at 12-1. Poor Things, 12-1. Who's favorite movie in the world? Barbie, 18-1. Killers of the Flower Moon, that star-studded cast, is at 25-1. Anatomy of Fall, as Joey just broke down, 28-1. American Fiction, 40-1. Zone of Interest, 50-1. Past Lives, 65-1. And Maestro, 65-1. Joey, can you highlight some of these other movies we haven't touched on and maybe explain a little bit about why they are nominated here?
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I also want to talk about how Best Picture is decided after I do that, if that's cool. I have a minute to do it. It's unlike any other awards decided, so it's really interesting. Maestro is the story of Leonard Bernstein. While it's not my favorite film of the year, it has my favorite scene. It's believed at the LA Cathedral. He's conducting a piece of classical music that is escaping me at the moment, but it is the most beautiful moment I saw captured on screen this year. So if you got Netflix, go watch that part of Maestro because it's unbelievable. The rest of it, it's good. Past Lives is a really just kind of quiet love story about 2 people that meet, I believe it's in Korea, as children, and they move away and they reunite later in life. And the female has moved to America and she's married now. And just kind of like what are the lines of love and what is love at different points in our lives? Really beautiful small film, kind of whatever Zone of Interest. American Fiction is a dark comedy about a African-American writer that cannot get a book published. And so he writes it in a very stereotypical African-American voice because that's seems to be what's selling, and it becomes a smash hit. So it's kind of like almost like The Producers in a way. If you know the Mel Brooks movie, The Producers, it's
great.
kind of a feel on that a little bit. What have we not talked about? Killers of the Flower Moon, about the Native American tribe, the genocide that was going on. Barbie, listen, this is where we talk about Barbie.
Yeah.
How wonderful of an experience was Barbie. Gosling's getting a lot of talk, but truly Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig deserve to get nominated this year. And I think that might lean to their favor in the Best Picture. When I talk about how Best Picture is decided, I think it could be the one. If anything's going to upset Oppenheimer, I think we could see Barbie get a Best Picture. Poor Things, it's kind of a reverse telling of Frankenstein. I can't say more about it because I don't want to give anything away. But for me, it's the funniest movie I saw this year. I laughed harder in Poor Things. Now it's a little disturbing at moments, and you'll see sides of Emma Stone that you've never seen before. But Poor Things, for my money, the funniest movie I saw last year. The Holdovers, that's about a headmaster that gets held behind at Christmas, and he stays with the cook that's on campus and one of the students. And it's kind of like a 3-person story. Beautiful little story.
That's really cool.
And then Oppenheimer, we know what Oppenheimer's about. So yeah, Oppenheimer's the favorite at -900. Now, normally, you just think, okay, any awards decided, okay, everybody votes for who they think is best. Best Picture doesn't work that way. It works by preferential balloting. Everyone ranks all 10 nominees 1 to 10. You have to get 50% of the number 1 votes to be declared the Best Picture winner. If you do not get 50% of the number 1 votes, the movie that got the least amount of number 1 votes gets chopped out. Then they go down to second place votes until they get a majority. Once they get that majority, that movie is declared Best Picture winner. This is how you see a movie like Green Book that's just kind of beloved. It might not be everyone's number 1, but it might be their 2 or 3. Because of the whole discourse with Greta Gerwig not getting nominated, Margot Robbie missing a nomination, Barbie made a ton of money. I think if anything's going to beat Oppenheimer, there might be a surge. Look towards the end here to see if maybe Barbie can pull it out. And I know that's crazy to say. If I had my money, I'm betting on Oppenheimer. But if you want something that's at plus money right now that could win, I only think Barbie's the only thing that could beat Oppenheimer at this point. The Holdovers had its moment about a month ago, and it's kind of trailing off a little bit. Poor Things, I just don't think Academy is there yet. If I had to give a Best Picture Academy Award, it would go to Oppenheimer, but Poor Things would be my second choice.
Barbie put asses in seats, and I think that is a thing we cannot overlook here. So at 18-1, that's great value, Eric.
Yeah, it really is, and I get the sense that it's going to be a pretty significant trend center in terms of genre, right? Like I think we're going to see a ton of toys and video games and things like that spun into movie subject matter here in the coming years, just based on how much of a smash success it was, right? Like it was always kind of like a tongue in cheek release. You know, we'll make a Barbie movie, and literally everyone that I've seen, including myself, has nothing but phenomenal things to say about it. So
It should
really
not have
enjoyed
been
the
as good as
film.
it was.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
No reason need to be that good.
I don't think a movie is going to define a generation the way that Barbie has defined this generation. And I swear, I'm serious. Is that, and I mean that out of my heart, is that I went to the theater like thinking that the only way that you're going to get this kind of cast to go to a movie, because like I don't know if you know the history behind the Barbie movie, is that they originally had, I think it was Amy Schumer that was originally Barbie. Yeah. So like then she got recasted and they switched the whole concept of the movie. So I'm thinking, okay, if they're going to get all these people to do this like new version, it's got to be absolutely hilarious to get like Ryan Gosling and Will Ferrell and Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig, like, you know, all these people, like talented people involved. It's got to be hilarious. And because I'm the person, I love going to those comedy movies in the theaters like Step Brothers and Talladega Nights. And so I'm like, this is going to be that new comedy everyone's going to see. So I went by myself. I didn't even go with my girlfriend. I sat there by myself and I was just blown away because even my coworker now, like he asked questions. He was like, why did they make it such a big point for Ryan Gosling to sing? And I said, because you wouldn't ask that question if it was Margot Robbie singing. And he's like, that's a good point. And that makes men ask that question and it makes them kind of understand more where women are coming from. Like, I love Joey's tweet when he was talking about it because I knew exactly what was coming, is that people were going to hype up Ryan Gosling for being best actor and they were going to snub Margot Robbie when there was a pink paint shortage because the set of Barbie demanded so much pink paint. That's how determined that this production team and direction has put into this movie. And I was just blown away because like pretty much with every movie, like in history, it's either Wizard of Oz or Citizen Kane. And this movie, like, I think this is the new version of Wizard of Oz. Like no movie has made you believe in like a whole new world that you're connected to, but it's also connected to your own world. Like Avatar, sure. I guess that's kind of the closest
Chronicles
thing.
of Narnia. Chronicles of Narnia a little bit.
I don't know. I think Barbie is like the new age Wizard of Oz. And I think it deserves Best Picture for sure.
I do not think Hoover's far off. I'm going to just kind of take a little step to the left of what he's saying because I do agree with like 95% of what he's saying. I think Greta Gerwig is the voice of her generation. And I think you just mentioned Chronicles of Narnia. That's what Greta Gerwig's doing next. She is taking IP that we know and we love, and she's kind of just turning it ever so slightly to make it appealing or make it relate to us a lot more. Like, I like the last Chronicles of Narnia movie. That was great. I cannot wait to see what Greta Gerwig does it because she gets so much more of a message, so much more. I don't know how to even explain what she does. It's incredible what she can do with just a piece of just IP. I'm so excited to see what she does with Narnia. But yeah, with Barbie, like she made a movie that had no business being as good as it was. 100%. And it was funny. It was touching. Like she made one of the best movies of the year. I still think Oppenheimer's going to win though.
Okay. All right. So Joey's still taking the juice, the minus 900 juice there. And then, hey, if you're in a betting legal state for entertainment odds, 18-1, at least a sprinkle on Barbie, might have a nice little payday for you if it does come to fruition. Joey, thank you so much for breaking down those odds.